been a minute since the carpet. Let's talk about UFC 328. Man, what a fun event. We had a ton of rookies that we're going to talk about first. Then we will get to some of the OGs and the main event, obviously. First up, let's talk about Baisangur Susurkaev. We've talked about him before on the channel. If you've been listening, you are already dialed in, you're watching the film, you're determining if you want to get his cards whenever he is eventually printed. He is 25 years old. He had another submission win. 25 years old. He is at 185, right? And with a couple of the guys that we're going to talk about today, whenever you're prospecting, whenever you're looking at these fighters, the physicality, the height, the weight, the reach, all of those measurable attributes play a huge role in whether they will be successful in their career, whether they will be successful on fight night, right? One thing about Susurkaev, he is fighting at 185. He's not really that big of a guy. I mean, he does have pretty big legs. Like whenever we were watching the fight, I was trying to look at him. I was like, he's not super cut, which can be good. You know, you're less likely to get injured whenever you hold a little bit more fat. You're not depleting yourself as much. You know, if you're super big for the weight class, obviously we know how hard all those weight cuts are. But I'm like, he's not a huge guy at 185. He got hit a lot in this fight. He still looks decent. But to me, he looks very raw right now. To me, I am still very much on the fence for Baisangur Susurkaev on whether I think he could, you know, potentially reach that next level, or if he's just gonna kind of be middling. Is he ever gonna take that next jump and really be upper echelon in his career? I don't know as of now, but definitely a guy that I'm continuing to watch, and I am happy that he won, right? Anytime we get these younger guys, and especially these younger guys that are at this age, you know, 24, 25, 26, 27, the mid 20s is like a really exciting time. If they do pop and they do pan out, you potentially have 10 years, right? 8 years for, you know, a run that they could make, which is, you know, would be considered potentially GOAT status if he starts right now and continues to climb and continues to win for a long time. Like, that's what we want to see in the cards. That's what we want to see as UFC fans, right? As people climb to greatness and achieve things that we've never seen be done before. Let's talk about another guy that I believe this is the first time I've seen him fight. I think he had maybe 2 fights. He's older. I mean, I said older, he's still not that old. He's 32 years old. We're talking about Yaroslav Amosov. I believe he was from Ukrainian fighter. He's a Bellator veteran, so he's been around forever. I think his record was like 30-1 or like something around there. So he's very polished at this point. He is in his prime. The thing that we're going to talk about with Yaroslav is, like, is it too late? Is it too late? He potentially has, maybe we'll give him 30 till 36 years old. He's got 4 years to get to the top and then make a bunch of title wins, right? Is that going to be enough time for him to potentially cement himself all time and have an all-time legacy and really be, you know, collectible, you know, across the board with UFC card collectors? He looked really good. Let's talk about that first. He looked really good, and he fought Joel Alvarez, who, another guy. Let's talk about athleticism, frame. He should have. Now, it's easy for me to say, right? I'm not the one cutting down to 155, and he's like my size. He's like 6'3", which would be insane. It's almost impossible. We're in Jalen Turner ranges of weight cut whenever you're that tall, cutting down to 155. But that, with his frame and his size at 155, I was all in on Joel Alvarez. He makes the move to 170, and I was like, I don't know if his skills are going to translate. His size and athleticism was a huge reason why he was so successful at 185. We see it in this fight, man. You move up from 155 to 170, that's not a normal weight shift. That's 15 pounds. That is massive. That's 15 pounds of muscle. That is a huge difference in power. And specifically, like we saw with Amosov, the grappling whenever you're 15 pounds of muscle heavier is way different. The only guy that we've ever seen do what he did to Joel Alvarez was Arman Tsarukyan. So that, to me, has me really paying attention to Amosov. He has no cards, right? Neither does Susurkaev, for that matter, but Susurkaev does have a debut patch, so keep that in mind. Amosov has no cards. Will he be printed next year? I would think, if he continues to win, I would think he's going to be printed in 2026 or 2027. Now, Topps definitely missed some people in 2026 that they could have put in. So we might be having a 2025 situation where 2027 rookie class is just absolutely star-studded and stacked, and we have some people that are already in prime positions to potentially, you know, get title shots or high in the rankings, whenever they are printed for that year. But yeah, Joel Alvarez, man, I sold a couple cards of his recently, maybe 2 months ago. I'm glad I did. I don't think he has what it takes skill-wise to really hang with the best of the best in this 170-pound division. I think he could have got away with it at 155, but again, that weight cut is absolutely brutal. I would imagine he's a big dude. Still a good guy. I think he'll continue to put on some fun fights, and he had some moments in that fight against Amosov, but Amosov looked very, very good with the grappling, with the wrestling, with the submissions. All right, we got Ateba Gautier, another rookie. He's a rookie in this 2026 class. After that fight, I'm gonna say is he more? This is a good question for y'all in the comments. Are we more excited about Quillan Salkild or Ateba Gautier? In the comments, say who you're more excited about and why. They have to be the top 2 rookies in this class right now. Man, he might be personally who I am most excited about in this rookie class. He's 24 years old. He is only 24 years old. Again, when we were talking about, Susurkaev at 25, like the sky is the limit for this guy. He has potentially, 10 years. He has a decade if he wanted to, and he, stays healthy and stays active. He could fight for 10 years and continue to build a legacy at the 185 weight class. He is absolutely massive for 185. We're looking at a guy that has the frame that could potentially jump to 205 very easily and not be at a frame or weight mismatch at 205. So that already has my rookie senses tingling, right? I'm like, this guy could be something special. And what I am most impressed about from Ateba Gautier is not his power is obviously incredible, right? And he is one of those guys where no matter who he faces, no matter who he is in there with, if he's standing with you, you are potentially in trouble. Like if he hits you with a good shot, he has that touch of death. He has that special ability. I mean, he look at him. He looks like an absolute monster, right? So he has the power to put anybody down. I think at 185 and potentially at 205 as well. Like the guy is an absolute truck. But I said this, we've talked about him months ago. I think what is most impressive about him is his poise, is his fight IQ, and is really his mental. His mental fight IQ is really what I think stands out the most. He looks very composed. He looks very relaxed. And like that is so rare for a guy that is this young. He is somewhat technical, and he's still, I think he will still continue to improve. But really, the poise and the mental game, and this mixed martial arts is such a mental game, right? Like how many times have we seen a guy that's doing great, that's winning, and then they make a silly fight IQ move, and then the fight completely shifts the other way, whether it's takedown attempts, whether it's rushing too much whenever they're doing great in one area. And he's a really good boxer, has the touch of death. Now the question is going to be his grappling and his wrestling. He, is an action figure. A lot of times those action figure type builds do not do great whenever it comes to the like isometric squeezing and that like grappling type of energy system. We have not seen him really get tested at all. Now I do think he has the strength and the athleticism to be an absolute monster once he develops those skills, even with grappling. But that is definitely my number one question with Ateba Gautier. What is his grappling like? What is he going to look like with his striking if he gets a guy that's just spamming takedowns on him? And then mentally, what is he going to look like when he's having to really worry about getting taken down in the fight? But I'm gonna say it right now, man. Ateba Gautier, I think if you put him in there with Sean Strickland, like I would not be surprised if he knocked out Sean Strickland. Like that's if he hits you with one good shot, it's gonna completely change the fight. And just athletically, he's probably one of the most imposing figures at 185 as well, which historically, athleticism and size, and weight is a huge factor in contributing to UFC titles. I mean, it's inarguable at this point. The guys that are bigger, faster, stronger, generally are the guys that are winning titles. And we've seen some exceptions. Alexander Volkanovski, is probably the number one exception, but he is incredible, an incredible specimen athletically, in that his wingspan is that of somebody that is much taller. So he, in my opinion, is almost an outlier in that case, because his wingspan makes up for his lack of height. All right, let's talk about some of the main events, man. We had two guys that I'm still very excited about. Both of these guys. We're talking about Joshua Van and Tatsuro Taira, and they both delivered in my opinion. We have first round, Tatsuro Taira looks stupendous. He's in and out. He's bouncy, and honestly, I don't know if he got tired, but that like karate blitz tactic, jumping in, jumping out, fighting real long with his quickness was really giving Van some problems, man. And he was very elusive in that first round. And I don't know if he got tired, didn't want to continue to strike like that, if, you know, Van was just more in his bubble and more in that boxing range and in that pocket, and it was more of Josh Van making the adjustment, or if it was Taira tiring out and not being able not being able to really laterally move his feet and jump in and out like that. Because those long shots in the first round, while they weren't like KO shots, while they really weren't that powerful, he was touching up Van, and I think that was enough to really kind of keep him on guard with the feet. And then we saw Taira hit many different takedowns. Josh Van, man, we're talking about athleticism a lot in this, and he showed he is very strong on the ground and very capable on the ground. We have another guy that we'll talk about after we talk about this matchup in Alexandra Pantoja, who is incredible on the ground and a much different grappler than Tatsuro Taira. But Josh Van really passed with almost flying colors in that first round. You know, he didn't get up from mount, but he was able to really work from mount and get up basically every single time. We had Rogan commenting on like the butterfly guard and the butterfly sweeps. He just looked very physically strong, and you saw Taira not able to impose any damage, not able to really even get any submissions off, which is very uncharacteristic. We have never seen him like that before, and it is because of how explosive and strong in the athleticism that Josh Van has. Obviously, he's technical as well, right? You have to be technical in order to get those sweeps off and to get your moves off defensively. But I think the explosion and the strength was to me what really stuck out. He kind of was able to do whatever he wanted when it came to escapes, and Taira could not hold him down. So definitely something to keep in mind whenever we're talking about matchups with Pantoja in the future. But dude, Josh Van, what an absolute stud. The style that Joshua Van has is very pleasing to the fan, right? It's very pleasing to the eye to see a guy that is throwing bombs, that is in the pocket, that he will eat some to give some, right? He'll take some to give some, and that is super entertaining. He was knocking Taira all over the place. How did he almost get finished? And then the next round, he like won half, the last half. I think it was the third round. It was absolutely incredible. He almost got, I think he got rocked in the third round, came back in the fourth round and like won it. Or maybe it was second and third. But absolutely insane that Taira was able to kind of clear the mental cobwebs and come back. I really think if Taira continues to improve, I think they could run this back, and I think it's a winnable matchup for him, man. He just needs to improve his control on the ground, get a little bit more damage off on the ground, maybe, you know, and then continue to go with that style, that like blitz style in and out. But two extremely young guys, I believe they're both around 25, 26. We're going to be seeing them for a long time. This is not the last time we see Taira versus Van. What's the future for Joshua Van? 2025 rookie, right? Still, I would imagine his prices are astronomical. I actually picked up a Joshua Van, and I'm going to be doing a video about that very soon. And I think it was an incredible buy. But what does the future hold for him? He's got 2 title wins. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that with the Pantoja arm break. His arm snaps in half. That is a title win. You know, whenever we look back in 10 years and I'm on Wiki doing a deep dive on Joshua Van, there's going to be a green next to Alexandra Pantoja, and that is going to be a title win. So he has 2 title wins already. He's, what 25, 24? Like, it's going to be impressive, man. I think it's really going to be impressive what his run does. Now, the question is, are you going to buy in? Are you going to buy in on Joshua Van right now? Or do you think Pantoja is going to come back? And since Taira had such success getting him down, do you think Pantoja can keep him down? And then do you think Pantoja can wrap up some type of submission? Because he did get taken down a lot. He got taken down a lot, and that could be scary. That could definitely potentially be scary if you are a Joshua Van collector or flipper, whatever you want to call it. But definitely 2 guys that I'm really excited about, and it was an amazing fight. Last up, we got Khamzat versus Sean Strickland. Dude, is this a case of, are we going to call it prospecting? Are we going to call it prospecting on Khamzat? Let's crystal ball this right here before we kind of get into the fight and get into both guys. All right, so we've got Khamzat Chimaev just to recap, right? He's selling for incredible. He's got $20,000 sales on golds. He's got, you know, he's all up and down in the top 20 sales. He's all over the place. A lot of those sales have, you know, steadily trended down since 2021, whenever he was released. We know he was released basically in the height of the 21 pandemic collecting, where prices were definitely bloated. Prices were definitely inflated a little bit because of the hype around that. So kind of an outlier year, but he's all up and down the sales. People still love him. He's a hobby darling. What if he loses you know, a bunch more matchups? We'll say he wins the next one. We'll say he wins his next fight and he gets another title shot. Let's say he loses another title shot. Let's say he kind of does that back and forth. Let's say he wins another title, so he's got 2 title wins, and then, you know, he loses 1 or 2. Is this guy is his career gonna justify the pricing that he has? To me, absolutely not. We also had the commentary saying he's the most dominant grappler we've ever seen. What, were you not watching half of his? Were you not watching the Gilbert Burns fight? Were you not watching the Kamaru Usman fight? Like, that was really odd to me that they were saying the most dominant grappler we've ever seen. Like, maybe in the DDP fight it was the most dominant championship grappling performance we've ever seen, but to say that overall in his career is a little was a little interesting to me, considering the, you know, the all-time greats that we've seen and some of the accolades that have been in the statistics that have been racked up by, you know, Georges St-Pierre, for instance. He has, like, the ground control time is astronomical with that guy when you look at the stats. But kind of a side tangent there. But if Khamzat Chimaev doesn't pan out, are we going to add him to the list of prospects that went bust? And it is early, right? I say all this, it's early. I'm probably going to do some type of kind of clickbait title with Khamzat, you know, not panning out as a prospect. But it is definitely, it should make you pause, and it should make you think. This is another case, man. Whenever we have prospects, whenever we have rookies, if the price is already, and I'm upping my volume here so you guys will, we're in all caps for this. If the price is already baked in that the guy is going to be an all-time great, a Hall of Famer, rack up, you know, 4, 5, 6 title wins, that is a red flag. The odds of that happening on any prospect are so rare. How many times have we seen this just within the last year that I've kind of been trying to cement this point home? It is very rare, man, and it will happen. It is going to happen. But the odds of it happening are very low, and we need to insulate ourselves from that risk by, one, either not prospecting, or when you are prospecting, you cannot be buying in on these guys that are $20,000. Khamzat had $20,000 sales when he did not have one championship win. How many championship wins do you need to have in order to be collectible all time? We've seen, I did a video the other day about it. We've seen Israel Adesanya get a bunch of hate, and he had, like, what did he have, 9 title wins? He had like 13 wins in a row at 185. Like, it's very difficult, man. It's very difficult, and the UFC fans are incredibly fickle. And as soon as we saw with Alex Pereira, whenever he lost to Magomed Ankalaev in their first fight, we saw tons of people basically dumping him in the comments. Oh, finally got exposed. He never had any grappling. Like, we need to keep in mind that the tides will shift tremendously, right? So insulate yourself from that risk by being careful whenever you are investing and spending a lot of money on people that do not have proven legacies, because the odds that they will turn out and they will pan out and be an all-time great, and not just be an all-time great, but also be collectible by the UFC collector, is very slim. Sean Strickland wins again. He now has 2 title wins. How crazy. If you would have told me, beam me back to when was it, 2022, 2023, hey, Sean Strickland's gonna have 2 title wins, and he's gonna have beaten Israel Adesanya, Khamzat Chimaev, and almost beat Dricus Du Plessis, I would have been like, what? Like, there is absolutely no way he's gonna have 2 title wins. Look at him do it, man. He's doing it. Tough nose performance by him, broken nose performance by him as well. Gritty win. The guy continues to just, go out there, try and do his game plan. He's got great cardio. He never gives up on himself. And it was another hard-fought performance. Khamzat gassed in round 2. We had an interesting blurb from Habib, which I actually, thought was a pretty good point. He's like, if your game plan is not to continue to spam takedowns and you can't do that, Khamzat's a good enough striker, why doesn't he just start out fights with striking? Because he actually looked like it was very close. That now, granted, some people want to say, like, that was a very close fight. I thought it was the right decision to give it to Strickland, but like, if Khamzat lands one or two more big shots, and he landed some big shots in this, and like, if he would have, I think if he would have wobbled Strickland one time, like really kind of wobbled him, I think they might have gave it to him. It was a good performance by Khamzat. I say all that, you know, the prospect talk and like, is he going to pan out? To just be critical and be, you know, very risk averse. But it was a very good performance by Khamzat Chimaev. But what does this do to his psyche? What does this do to Khamzat's psyche? We have some interesting matchups at 185 still. I would assume they're gonna maybe run DDP versus Strickland again. Like, there's a lot of different things they could do at this point, storyline wise. But Sean Strickland, another title win. How collectible is he long term? Like, I know he has a pretty good fan base because of how polarizing he is and kind of his character, and people like him because he's a madman and he's you know, very divisive and just kind of says whatever he wants and is entertaining in that aspect to some. Is his collector market gonna pop off? He's been pretty low, if I'm being honest. Been kind of like low to middling. Will we finally see him kind of erupt? 2 title wins, I think it's definitely possible. But see y'all next time. Just wanted to recap on UFC 328.